Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about a really gentle but honestly powerful idea for anyone who's ever felt like they needed to hide, or maybe just make themselves smaller. It's called the presence ladder, and it's a new way to think about how we can step out of the shadows and really start showing up in our own lives. You know, at the core of all this is a really deep, very human question. It's one you've probably even whispered to yourself at some point. Am I even allowed to be seen, to be heard, to be me? For so many of us, that question is just tangled up in fear, and it really dictates how much of our true selves we're willing to share with the world.
And look, there are very real reasons for feeling that way. Learning to stay hidden is often a survival skill, right? It could be from past experiences or just the way we were raised, things that taught us it was just plain safer to be invisible. So if that sounds familiar, please know it's a learned behavior. It's not some flaw in who you are. Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial shift in how we think about this. We tend to see presence, that charisma some people have, as something you're either born with or you're not. But what if that's not true? What if we started to see presence as a skill, something you can actually learn and practice over time?
Well, that's exactly what this is all about. Presence isn't some performance, it's a gentle step-by-step practice. And I want you to notice the order here, because this is key. It's about showing up for yourself first, and then for others. It's all about getting right with yourself on the inside before you even think about expressing yourself on the outside. All right, so how do we actually start doing this? That's where this idea, the presence ladder, comes in. I want you to think of it like a roadmap, a step-by-step guide to becoming more visible. And it's designed to be gentle so you can build a really solid foundation before you take any of the bigger steps. There are 4 main rungs on this ladder. It all starts with stage 1, internal presence. That's just about becoming aware of what's going on inside you, your own thoughts, your own voice. Then you move up to stage 2, private expression, where you start using tools like journaling to let that inner voice out. After that comes stage 3, safe witnessing. This is where you begin sharing, but only in small, trusted groups. And only then, after all that, do you get to stage 4, public presence, which is showing up in bigger ways, like on social media or in a leadership role. And here's the golden rule. You absolutely have to remember this. You don't just jump to the top. Trying to leap to public presence without doing the groundwork first, well, it's like building a house with no foundation. It's just not going to hold up. Each stage is crucial, and honoring that process is what makes it feel authentic and sustainable. So that's the theory, right? But how do you actually start climbing? Let's make this real. We're going to walk through a super simple practice you can start today to get a foothold on those first rungs of the ladder, building your internal presence and your private expression.
And the best part is you don't need anything fancy. The toolkit is about as simple as it gets. All you need is a voice notes app on your phone, a journal, could be paper or digital, whatever you like, and a timer. Seriously, just setting a timer for 5 or 10 minutes is a great way to make it feel less overwhelming and totally manageable. Okay, so here's the practice. For just 2 minutes, I want you to record yourself talking about something you genuinely deeply care about. Now here's the most important part. You don't post it. You don't send it to anyone. The only person who will ever hear this is you. That makes it a totally safe, no-pressure experiment. The process is really straightforward. First, you just hit record. Don't overthink it, just let it flow. Then you listen back. This is where the magic happens, just hearing your own voice, your own thoughts. Then, if you want, try it again, re-record. And as you do this, just notice, what's your clarity like? How's your confidence? Do you hear any hesitation? It's all just information, there's no judgment here. You know, the simple act of just recording and listening to yourself, it's incredibly powerful. It starts to close that gap between the voice that's in your head and the voice the world actually hears. It's really the very first step in reclaiming your presence and starting to believe that what you have to say matters.
So as you give this a try, here's a question to carry with you. What surprised you about hearing yourself? Maybe you sounded way more confident than you expected. Or maybe you could hear the passion in your own voice in a way you never have before. Or maybe you noticed a little hesitation that you want to get curious about. And that really leads us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. Forget the practice and the frameworks for a second. Deep down, what is your voice waiting to say? This whole ladder, this whole idea, it's just a tool to help you finally find that out. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.